This is ATL Day Ones, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta. And it starts now.
Welcome into ATL Day Ones with Jarvis and Tenitra. Woo, T. Let's welcome the people in. It is a Monday. We are locked and loaded. Oh, yeah, pun intended. Right here on ATL Day Ones with Jarvis and Tenitra. We want to start off by saying thank you for making ATL Day Ones your first listen of the day. And remember, we're free and available wherever you download your podcast. And wherever you download your podcast, make sure, I'm not going to preach violence today, but just go and leave us a 5-star review. You guys have been doing a really good job of that. It seemed like you only been leaving 5-star reviews. So, hey, I love it. Keep them coming. We appreciate you all for getting us to the 2,500 subscriber mark. Woo-hoo. You guys have been doing your absolute thing with that. Yeah. Now, we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. Now, did the Braves miss out on the opportunity to sweep the Nationals? Tenitra and I will tell you who you should have your eye on for the Atlanta Falcons, as we are only a couple of days away from the rookies reporting, and we're a little bit over a week away from the veterans reporting. And last but not least, and for the culture, we'll let you know which All-Star weekend you should add to your bucket list. Point blank, period. We got everything you need right here on ATL Day Ones. But, T, we got to start off with the Atlanta Braves. They actually go 3-1 with the Nationals. I know everybody was trying to get the sweep and everything. Yes. They lose yesterday. Spencer Strider get off to another rough start, and it just kind of interesting how he's just been struggling going into the All-Star break because, the trade deadline coming up, and it kind of seems like these past couple of performances are something that people have their eye on. Yeah. And maybe trying to start thinking about adding another arm, but I think Spencer Strider be okay. But what say you as far as where the Braves are and that pitching staff? But like I said, it was a lot of other good positives coming out of this series, though.
Yeah, and of course, who wouldn't want to sweep the Nats for a third time this season, especially with the race so contentious between the Braves and the Mets? But good news, Mets lost to the Cubs, so at least the Braves keep that 2.5 games back record that they have in the NL East going into the All-Star break, and they are full 6 games ahead of the Phillies, who are in third in the division. So still not a bad way to wrap it up. And Spencer Strider's gotten roughed up the last couple of outings. He settled down a little faster in the last outing. This outing, the bats kind of couldn't bail him out as well, but I'm not super concerned about him, especially because he will have the All-Star break to kind of reset. Now, Max Fried, and the fact that he's gotten dusted up a time or two and actually pulled himself out of the All-Star game, and he's probably not going to get the start when the Braves resume play this Friday at Truist Park against the Angels. However, I said, well, that could be just preventive maintenance, right? And I'd rather you have preventive maintenance, especially on a team that you can probably, if you can't sweep them, you'll probably at least win the series coming back, coupled with him taking himself out of the game. He's still going to be recognized as an all-star. Even if you didn't play, you still get the honor. And that gives your body and your arm a little bit more time to rest. But all that said, and still knowing what Ian Anderson has continued to look like, I'm still like, Alex Anthopoulos, you have a few extra days this year because I think the trade deadline was pushed back to like August 2nd. I still am in favor of an arm, Jarvis, whether that's an arm for the starting rotation or even the bullpen, because we're still seeing some ups and downs there. And we still don't quite know, for example, when we're going to get a Kirby Yates back to kind of shore up the bullpen.
He's set to start his rehab assignment as well with Kirby Yates, that is. John Chuckery was so mad about him not being up that he kind of disappeared us on Friday. But, yeah, check out Hitting Hard with John Chuckery so you can kind of tell him what I said. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. But I think that the Braves are in a good space. And like you said, you can never have enough arms in today's game, right? When you have pitchers going to 5 innings, and that's a solid start for you, and you don't want to get to the point where we've seen it before, where the bullpens get burned out, and Brian Snitker just runs through all the arms that he has in the bullpen, and you don't want to get to that space. So I think that if the Braves have a much needed break here, and I
Hmm.
think that it wasn't necessarily that big of a deal. They weren't able to sweep the Nats, but
Right.
I think we're gonna get a really good shot at what they are going to do coming up in the second half of the season.
Hmm.
But before we get to the Atlanta Falcons and who you should have your eye on, tell the people about Sports Card Investor.
Yeah, because that's something that you should have your eye on as well, because it's the world of sports cards reimagined. The Sports Card Investor app is the hobby's most powerful resource. You can do a quick check on the value of your favorite card. You can find great deals and profit from the hobby that you love. So check this out. We're talking 630,000 cards from every single sports, and they add hundreds more each and every week. So you can check out the latest value of your favorite cards. They actually have a 7-day and a 30-day chart just so you can kind of track the value, if you will. And of course, for me, I'm always checking. I told you guys before, and I'll tell you again, on one Fred McGriff. That was my favorite Brave, who
Crime
actually
Dog.
got to see last night as he announced the second pick for the Braves. We'll talk about that later, though. But I want to always see what his rookie card is looking like, right back from 86. I'm checking on the value of that. And also, you can find the best prices and buy directly through that app with the eBay deals feature. So whether you're a casual car collector, and I kind of am, or you're looking for alternative investment opportunities, I'm that person too. The free Sports Card Investor app has something for you. Now, you download that Sports Card Investor app today. It's available for free in the Google Play and Apple app stores, or you can go to sportscardinvestor.com/locked on. Again, great values, great deals on the first cards of breakout stars or prospects. The Braves actually took 3 right-handed pitchers last night, so you might want to pick up their cards right now before they really, really get out of control with their value. And you can, of course, go back in time and see how much your favorite old cards are worth. Again, that is sportscardinvestor.com/locked on.
Sports Card Investors. Check it out. /locked on. That's where you need to go. Well, also where you need to go is you probably need to make your way up to Flowery Branch at some point during the summer, because guess what? The rookies report tomorrow, July the
Yeah.
19th. And the veterans report a day after my birthday, July the 26th. That's why I could never go out and party when I played ball back in the day, because I was always at the report for camp, so I couldn't do my thing. But that's a personal thing. That's a personal issue. But now,
Right.
I know.
FOMO going on?
Yeah, that's like just move on, Jarvis. Come on now, get out of your feelings. But I
Right.
think that one of the things that we've been talking about, T, as far as and we talked about ad nauseum on this show, as far as who are the people that need to step up this season, coming into this season. And I think that with the rookie draft class, I think that's the first place where I feel like I want to settle in right there, as far as who we have our eye on. I know the first guy that comes to mind for me, I know everybody all in love with the sexy. I don't care about sexy. I want the uglies. Go down. I know Drake London is a sexy, that's a sexy pick, pass catching and all that good stuff. That's cool and cute. But I'm going with Arnold Ebiketie. I want to see when he lines up against Caleb McGarry on one-on-ones, when they go into team individual period, and those the D linemen and the edge rushers run down to the offensive line, because they always make us go to the offensive line for some strange reason. I never understood that. But we go down there, and I want to see him put his hand in the dirt and whoop each and every person that he goes up against. It's specifically Michaela McGarry, because I think that'll be a good sign, because, you can establish a precedent with him. You probably can establish a precedent with a bad tackle every now and then when you run up against on Sundays at 1 o'clock. So I think Arnold
Yeah.
Ebiketie is the guy I'm definitely going to have my eye on to start off.
That's a great point. That is a really great point, because that's what I'm kind of looking at as well. The obvious, I don't want to do that, because we've kind of been paying attention to Desmond Ritter and Drake London and kind of seeing what they could do even through rookie minicamp, and kind of heard all the
Mm-hmm.
accolades. But like you said, kind of going down the depth chart of those rookies and kind of seeing what they can do. And so you look at somebody like you hope D'Angelo Malone will be sneaky good, because you need
Indeed.
him to be sneaky good. You need there to be at every turn Dean Pease to have as many weapons as he can work with. But on that same token, now I'm going to take you super old school Falcons fans. I look at
Okay.
somebody like Jamie Dukes, who, if I remember
Ooh.
correctly, was undrafted and then gave 10
Mm.
productive years to the Atlanta Falcons on that O line, right?
All right.
Maybe, just maybe, you'll get something like that out of Justin Shaper. So I'm also paying a
Ooh,
little attention.
nice.
Yeah, I just want to
Nice.
see what he can do in the possibilities of where they might be able to flex him to. When you're coming from a championship program like UGA, there's every opportunity that you have the raw talent that can be developed into something. So I'm actually going to have my eyes, like you said, going a little bit down the roster class and looking at those two guys.
No doubt about it. And that's in talking with, getting a chance to kind of just know Justin and as he was, coming through high school and kind of going up into Georgia and being down playing for the Bulldogs and everything like that, and you kind of follow along with his career, he just seems like he's the type of guy. He fits the profile of a guy that can do something like a Jamie Deuce did. Just come in, no real expectations like that, and just come in and just be a solid starter for you going forward. And if the Terry Fontenot was able to get a guy like that, in the 6th round he was drafted.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, you talking about value and what the Falcons need. They need cheap labor. I hate to put it like that, but that's exactly what they need at this point when you're talking about building out a team to win games. So I'm definitely on board with that pick because he's a guy that can turn some heads in one-on-ones as well, and that's what I love about it. It's just all about competition, you versus the next man. No excuses. I absolutely love that. Now, T, we talked about the rookies, who we expect, who we're having our eye on. What about veterans? I know.
Well,
you
called it out, so I'm just going to finish the sentence. Caleb McGarry, Jermaine Ifedi. I'm going to leave it right there.
Oh,
your turn, Jarvis.
Yes, that no other words needed, right? We told you why when we talk about the rookies and who we're gonna have our own. So if Caleb McGarry can figure out how to get his name out of a rookie whooping his behind on a day-to-day basis, that's exactly what the Falcons need in order to be better on offense. And I'm with you on that because Jermaine Ifedi, kind of got a chance to run into him, and it's gonna be a competition. And I think he's more than up for it when you're talking about coming in and potentially taking somebody's spot. I think Ifedi is ready for that challenge, that's for sure. But for me, I have to go with Matt Hennessy. Hennessy and Jalen Mayfield. Agreed. Don't let nobody come in and take your spot, man. Specifically Matt Hennessy, because they didn't draft you.
Right.
They drafted your replacement, Drew Dahlman. So, hey, step your game up. Yep. And you can get some eyeballs on you as well when you're talking about the veterans. When you talk about a veteran, being a veteran and then having a young guy being drafted right behind you in the preceding draft class, and you'll figure out what it is when those pads come on, and we'll see exactly what the Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot want to and preach about, and that's competition. Now, T, last but not least, the Atlanta Dream, they get the dub against Phoenix, and please tell the folks what's really been going on with the Dream and how they've been doing their thing in spite of their injuries they've been having.
Exactly. And you look at Friday night, that was a really tough game for them. Did not go well because they come into the game Friday night with Ryan Howard out, right? And in addition to that, Monique Billings was just getting her legs under her in that game, and then she went down with an injury. So it really became like kind of by committee, if you will, and that did not go well. But they reset. Tanisha Wright got them together for Sunday to start their 4-game road trip, and they come out with the victory. And what I loved about it is they're learning to win at the end, because that was a very tight game at the end, and it could have gone either way with about 3 minutes left. No Ryan Howard, again, no Monique Billings, and no Nia Coffey. And they were able to get that win, and now they're up to 11 games. So they have already, with 10 games left, exceeded where they were last season. So congratulations to the Dream, and congratulations to Cheyenne Parker, who just continues to do it, 21-12, getting herself a double-double. Love you, Miss Parker.
Miss Parker. Y'all go ahead and look up Cheyenne Parker.
Yeah.
All right, coming up next. All right, does Alex Anthopoulos need to get on the phone right now? We'll discuss all of that next, right here on ATL Day Ones with Jarvis and T, part of Locked On Sports app.
Welcome back to ATL Day Ones. I am Tenitra. That is Jarvis. And we are part of the Locked On Sports Atlanta network that is up to 2,500 subscribers, thanks to you guys. So keep rocking with us on YouTube, subscribing, liking, and following us and everybody on the network. And also, of course, wherever you download your podcast, download us too and give us a 5-star review. We definitely appreciate that. We appreciate you guys also giving us great feedback because that helps to keep us on our toes. And speaking of being on your toes, the Braves have continued to be on their toes. Don't get it twisted just because they dropped that last game against the Nats. The Braves are 18 games over 500 at this All-Star break. And Jarvis, do you know they didn't crack 15 games over 500 until the last day of last season, and that was during the championship run. So I think Braves country should be very encouraged about where the Braves are so far, and in terms of them just still being 2.5 games behind the Mets, 6 games ahead of the Phillies. I think they are in prime position to continue this run and possibly get that division championship, if not getting their 5th in a row, certainly getting into the wild card race, but or being at the top of the wild card race. But my question to you is this: with all of those things considered, and after really seeing how they matched up against the Mets and how they really went on a run, of course, in June, but even to start off July, what do you think, Jarvis, that they have to do in order to keep this momentum in that second half and possibly catch the Mets in the second half?
I think you got to start off with pitching and defense, and and I'll go starting with the pitching staff. I think that we talked about Max Fried a little bit earlier, and we was talking about how he was deciding to sit down and not participate in the All-Star. He wanted to get some rest. We know he had the glute issue. A couple starts ago, and I think that's something that you keep in mind as far as going forward. And I think he had to figure out, get some rest, and get amped up for the second half of the season. I think that those question marks like we have with Ian Anderson, can we answer that question? And I think that if he's able to get back to some consistency, I think that's going to be the key for the Braves to be able to get back into it, right? And then I think that Charlie Morton, we don't know if he's going to probably have to sit down for a couple starts and kind of figure out what's going on. Alex Anthopoulos make a phone call. Who's out there? Maybe move him back. Spencer Strider has his struggles. So I guess I'm making the case for, Alex Anthopoulos making a move. That's how they're going to catch the Mets. But I think that, we've seen consistency from all of those guys that I just mentioned. So I'm expecting them to get back to that. If they're able to get back to that consistency that we've seen from them at this point, especially specifically during this run that they went on in June, where it was 33-10, which was absolutely ridiculous since June 1st. So it has been a really good run. So I think that if they're able to continue to do that, not necessarily that great, but if the pitching staff continues to stick around and hold it down until the bats get going, I think the Braves will be fine. And then defensively, I believe that if Michael Harris and Ronald Acuna figures out, get confident enough in his play, in his running, in his starting and stopping, because that's when you start to see him struggle a little bit in the field, is when he's chasing down balls at a certain angle and he has to pull up, or he's trying to have to slow down and try to gauge where the ball is. That's when he kind of gets himself into trouble. And I think that Michael Harris continues to play the elite defense that he's been playing. And if Ronald Acuna can step up his defense, I think those pitching staff, that gets the pitching staff going. And we talked about how Kyle Wright is enamored by that. Like he would rather have great defense than the home runs and all that stuff, because that gets him going. And once those pitchers are getting motivated by your play behind them, I think that's a good recipe for success as far as catching the Mets going forward.
Agreed. And just to add to that, if we could continue to see, we talk about consistency, continue to see what we've been seeing behind the plate, that catching duo of Travis d'Arnaud and William Contreras, even from an offensive perspective as well, with both of them being all-stars, but even defensively, how they've been able to call games and how you're just not going to be able to, get to the plate or steal bases on them, because they really have they're just so fine-tuned, right? But also what you're getting, want the consistency. We low-key don't really talk about Austin Riley at third base from a defensive perspective, but you get what you need from him. Matt Olson starting to really be consistent as well. And I'm just kind of going on your theme of consistency. And also, if Robinson Cano can just give you this from it. Just be solid at second. If you can
Yeah.
do that until Ozzy Albies gets back, then I think that's a good recipe. And I think that the Braves could be good to go. And also, Jarvis, just one more thing. You look at the strength of schedule on the back half, and the Mets' strength of schedule is slightly higher than the Braves from the research that I've seen and the reports that I've seen so far. So Braves, the one thing you want to do is, and again, I take away what happened with the Nats in the series finale game on Sunday, win the games you're supposed to win. Win the games you're supposed to win because you have a strength of schedule that's in your favor. So do something with that because all you have to do is beat them by a half game. That's it.
Right. That's
So
it.
take the opportunity for that. Now, speaking of opportunities, you have opportunities to do something with your health by eating healthy with Built Bar. Jarvis, you have been a big fan and you've been talking about and just praising what Built Bar has been able to do with you as you continue on your health and wellness journey.
No doubt about it. Let me tell you, this is from the people who invented health and tasty now. Like, let me say that again. From the people who invented healthy and tasty comes the latest gift to your taste buds, right? Let me tell you guys about the coconut brownie chunk Built Bar. But guess what? Your friends at Built have given coconut brownie chunk the puffs treatment. Go ahead and check it out because guess what? I've been doing mine. I've been getting down on these doggone these coconut brownie chunk bars because they have been absolutely amazing. Like you said, like T told you, I've been on my health kick. I've been doing it. I've been trying to not make it a kick and make it long term because I'm concerned about my long term health. And Built Bar is concerned about your long term health as well because, of course, they taste amazing, but you can enjoy it guilt free because they're actually good for you. They are good for you. They are the perfect treat. Perfect when you got a craving, you need to satisfy your sweet tooth, or if you need a quick, healthy snack, they are an excellent source of protein. Now, just for you, I got this offer just for you. Nobody else. Listen in. I want you to listen in closely. Go to built.com, use promo code LOCK15 and get 15% off your order. That's built.com. Use the promo code LOCK15. You're going to get 15% off your order. Use the code LOCK15. T. Go check it out right now.
Yeah, and I'm grateful for those Built Bars as well because driving all around the city, I always have to snack on something just to keep me going. And that's definitely one of the snacks that I'm excited to have because it's a healthy one when I'm driving through these ATL streets. Now, the Braves also have been applauded not just by Braves Country, but also by the league overall with 6 All-Stars on the National League team, which will be, of course, managed by B-Snit because his team, of course, won last year's NL Pennant and World Series. We just saying. But the choice to add Austin Riley, of course, was entirely up to Major League Baseball officials. But hey, we know that wasn't a difficult choice to make at all. Now, we also talked about the fact that Max Fried would be pulling himself out of the game, and that's okay. That's perfectly okay. We love it when there is managing of a resource because you know what the back half of the season needs to look like. But I still would ask the question, Jarvis, of if you are concerned specifically about Max Fried, and do you think getting another arm, among other reasons, is the safe way for Alex Anthopoulos to go, or is there an additional space that you want him to go in other than adding to the pitching staff?
You know what? I think that I believe both of those moves would be safe, right? Because, we talked about, Charlie Morton, Ian Anderson, Spencer Strider, he's a young guy, so that might be an easy move to make as far as that 5th starter spot. I don't know I think you can kind of stick him in there and kind of just let him kind of figure it out at this point because we all know that rotation shrinks once you get into the playoffs. So, I think that, it would be safe for him to pick up the phone and give people some calls and answer the phone. Like, hey, here's what I'm looking for. Can you make this happen? Or he's putting offers out there on the table for, some guys that he may have his eye on. Because at the end of the day, what I do, I trust Alex Anthopoulos. He's going to make the necessary moves, as far as what he needs to make, what he would like to make, and some guys like, oh yeah, I got my eye on this guy, and a lot of people may not have their eye on him, but I have my eye on this guy for a specific reason, and we know that Alex Anthopoulos is good for those type of moves, too.
Yes, he is. And funny that you should mention that because I heard our friend Grant McCauley, he of course does the Braves postcast, and he was speaking last night on Alex Anthopoulos and how he does have that long-term look and gave the example of how he'd been eyeing Travis d'Arnaud, someone that he at one point had said thanks but no thanks and kind of moved him on and then brought him back. And we know how much of a great move that has been. And even seeing Alex
Solid move.
Anthopoulos' eye for the future in the Braves draft picks last night, right? Because what did he do? He went and got himself three more right-handed pitchers. So he got righty Owen Murphy, J.R. Ritchie, Ian Ritchie Jr., that is, and Cole Phillips. So again, always looking to add prospects to the farm system because he's always thinking about the future and thinking ahead. And speaking of the future, because obviously Jarvis and I are not at an All-Star week right now, but in the future, I wonder where we might want to go and maybe check that off our bucket list. If you want to know what we're checking off the bucket list, come back on the other side and we'll tell you all about it.
Final segment of ATL Day Ones with Jarvis and Tenitra. We want to say thank you for continuing to rock with us throughout the entire show. Remember, wherever you download your podcast, go and leave us a 5-star review. We would really appreciate that, and we're free and available. And wherever you download your podcast, so go do that. It's easy. It takes no time. Just go do it, and and don't even think twice about it because we're great, and we know you like greatness. So hey, that's why you continue to come and rock with us Monday through Friday right here on ATL Day Ones. But this is For the Culture. It is the intersection between sports, entertainment, and the culture, and sometimes whatever the heck we want to talk about because that's how we get down. Now, you know that the All-Star weekend with NBA, the Pro Bowl situation type thing with the NFL. And, we got the All-Star game festivities starting tonight with the Home Run Derby on ESPN at 8 o'clock. Ronald Acuña is going to be there. So, check that out. We'll talk about that a little bit. But right now, I think, I don't know about you, but for me, the All-Star situation, weekend game, however you want to refer to it as. I think the one thing for me that has stood out to me throughout my entire life, and I have had the opportunity to kind of enjoy some of the outside festivities within it. It has to be NBA All-Star Weekend because I just think that, my goodness, I remember back in the day when All-Star Weekend was in Atlanta, and Mr. Jermaine Dupri had a party in Lenox Mall. When I say you, might make your head blow out. I'm talking about Peachtree Street was like Freaknik, like the entire strip. And we know how long Peachtree Street is.
Right.
This is Locked On Sports Atlanta, so most of you understand where I'm going with this.
Absolutely.
I'm talking about wall-to-wall traffic, like literally get out your car and kind of chill type traffic. That was how it went down, and it was just an amazing experience for me. So I would be lying to myself if I chose any other All-Star experience as far as where you should go. And I think that, as far as the bucket list, I'll probably have to add another city to my bucket list at some point as we move along in this sports journey here.
Right. In this sports dancery, as Mary J. Blige would say.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I was intrigued by the All-Star game or All-Star week for MLB when it was going to be here. That was exciting.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, oh my God, it'll be in our backyard. We can kind of partake in the festivities. And of course, we know that didn't quite happen like we wanted it to. But in LA, I thought, I was like, now in LA, it might hit different too. So I really gave that some thought, right? I was like, I might want to check that out. But ultimately, didn't get there this year, maybe another year and another time. But I have had more than my fair share of NBA All-Star weekends. And let me tell you, I don't even know how that gets
Y'all see the look at her face? For those watching on YouTube.
Exactly. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it is crazy. It is wall to wall. You just need to take off that Monday the way you do after homecoming because it's like homecoming and a family reunion on 10. It's just crazy. and like, doing it in New York and doing it here, and even Cleveland, low key, doing it in Houston. Yeah, I've been to a lot of
Yes,
them. That's right.
yes.
So,
Okay.
sometimes as a fan, sometimes covering, sometimes both. And it's just really an awesome experience. I feel like there's more access, if you will, to just the events, especially because some of those ticket prices have come down recently. And also, there are more free activities for people who are trekking in for those events. So even next year, I'm like, my friend and I were already talking about it because skiing is my favorite thing to do. And it's going to be in Utah. So I'm like, oh, wow, I can like go and ski some of the slopes before All-Star weekend, before I go to work. I can go do that and have like a great time. So I'm all hyped. And then wait, as excited as I was getting about the possibility of going to LA for MLB All-Star week, I was like, watching Summer League made me just want to go to NBA All-Star all over again, because Summer League is like a modified version of All-Star Weekend. So yeah, if anybody's like looking for something to check off their list or put on their bucket list, you might want to do that, because man, look, I was watching Summer League with FOMO, thinking about All-Star Weekend with FOMO too.
Speaking of Summer League, somebody earned themselves a contract for the Atlanta Hawks. We'll talk about that next. But before we do that, T, tell the folks about Coffee AM.
Yeah, because Coffee AM, that's something you want to put on your bucket list as well, because it
Indeed.
is already checked off of Jarvis's bucket list and mine. You
Every
guys
morning.
already know that. Exactly. Like, it is so checked off of our list, especially because, of course, we know they are a small batch coffee roaster right here in Atlanta. So we always want to check out and support our local vendors and our local businesses, but also because they make great teas. And so that's something I love, the fact that they have a wide array of products that we could choose from. So again, freshest coffee, freshest teas that you can get, because most of those coffees, when you order them, they're actually roasted the same day or not long after in preparation to ship your orders. And you think about the fact that it's current crop, it's specialty grade coffee. They have a huge selection. So whether that is from all over the world, organic, fair trade, direct trade, they have it all. And again, right here in our backyard is where it's roasted. So you should go to coffeeam.com/locked on today. Take a look at the full menu. Don't just listen to what Jarvis is telling you about the coffee or what I'm telling you about the tea. Go check it out for yourself, because you may also see some gift sets. You may want to gift somebody some of these products, right? coffeeam.com/locked on. Use the coupon code locked on. 15% off at checkout. That's what they have for you in your first order for coffees, teas, and gift sets. Again, don't forget it. coffeeam.com/locked on for the best small batch roaster in the U.S.
All right. And probably the best performer in Summer League was Tyrese Martin, the number 51 overall pick in the 2022 NBA draft for the Atlanta Hawks. They have signed him to a multi-year deal. We know second-round picks in the NBA don't have guaranteed contracts. For him to be able to sign a contract, he's got that guaranteed money, so good for him. Martin was averaging 12 points, almost 4 rebounds, and 2 assists in 24 minutes a game in Summer League. So, hey, the Travis Schlenk and Landry Fields saw what they liked, and went on ahead and signed up Tyrese Martin. That's a good sign for a second-round pick to earn a contract while he's out there playing and getting down and balling like he was.
Yeah, I really, really like that, because I watched him, and just the ease and the commitment to play at both ends of the court. I'm big about that two-way play, but also I like his presence of mind in end of game situations. So a couple of games back, he not only hit what was the eventual game winner, but also defended and stopped the opponent from hitting what would have been their game winning shot. So just having the ability to see the shot, take the shot, make the shot, and then get back down the court to make sure that the opponent does not either get a win or send this thing into overtime. I love that kind of thinking, and just having the ability and having the presence of mind. I feel like, wow, the game is going to slow down much faster for this kid. And I think that's going to be good for the Hawks as they continue to build up their repertoire and just kind of stack the deck for themselves and make sure that they have plenty of talent loaded across that roster. So it's going to be interesting. Excited for him. Congratulations to Tyrese Martin. And hopefully tomorrow we'll be able to talk about congratulating Ronald Acuna Jr. in the home run derby. I know he has his work cut out for him, because Alonso is going for a third one in a row, but you know what, Ronnie? We are behind you, and we hope we get to talk about some great things that happen with you tomorrow on ATL Day Ones. Guys, stop by and see us again tomorrow. As you always do, this is your first stop, and don't forget to make your second stop Hitting Hard with John Chuckery. Thanks again for stopping by, and we will see you tomorrow.